In this video, we will briefly explain the difficulties in the application of the biological species concept. So first of all, insufficient information. Individual variations within a population often raises doubts that whether a certain phenotype is a separate species or only a phenomenon within a population. Its examples include sexual dimorphism, polymorphism, and phenotypic variations related to age differences. These variations can only be unmasked as individual variations only through the study of life histories and population analysis. Next is uniparental reproduction. In certain organisms, uniparental reproduction exists, and the formation of a new individual is not followed by genetic recombination between individuals. Its examples include the species in which reproduction occurs through self-fertilization, parthenogenesis, pseudogamy, and vegetative reproduction by budding or fission. That's why biological species concept is inappropriate for uniparentally reproducing organisms. Next is evolutionary intermediacy. It means that populations of a species are found that are in the process of becoming separate species and they have acquired some but not yet all of the attributes of distinct species. The difficulties associated with evolutionary intermediacy include, first of all, acquisition of reproductive isolation without equivalent morphological change. So, biological species are basically reproductively isolated gene pools. When two populations become geographically isolated, they diverge in their isolation genetically and may acquire isolating mechanisms. Few species fail to acquire conspicuous morphological differences during speciation, and such very similar cryptic species are termed as sibling species. Next is acquisition of strong morphological differences without reproductive isolation. So, the typological solution of calling every morphologically distinct population a species is clearly inappropriate in such situations. Occasional breakdown of isolating mechanism, that is hybridization. This will most frequently lead to the production of occasional hybrids that are either sterile or less viable. Hybrid individuals are sometimes described as species before their hybrid nature is discovered. Such names lose their validity as soon as the hybridism is established. Two kinds of hybridism concern us here, that is, sympatric hybridization. In this case, the two parental species maintain their genetic integrity over a wide area in which they occur together, and no taxonomic recognition is given to the hybrid populations that result from the local breakdown of reproductive isolation. Next is Amphiploidy. The hybrids that share chromosomes from two parental species are called allopolyploids. They may give rise to uniparentally reproducing organisms or uniparental reproduction in a new population that is reproductively isolated from both parents and behaves like a new species. Next is semispecies. These are the geographical isolates that have an intermediate status between species and subspecies. Based on some criteria, they would be considered species, while based on others, they would not. Next are the special situations that include paleontology and parasites. So, the difficulties that are faced by paleontologists include evolutionary continuity. Species are evolving systems, and the vertical delimitation of species in the time dimension should be theoretically impossible. The availability of unbroken sequences of fossil populations are extremely rare. Where they exist, morphospecies are so similar that they are mostly ranked as subspecies. Next is amount of evidence that is limited. So the taxonomic evidence is supplied by the chromosomes, proteins, behavior, physiology, and various attributes of living populations are unavailable to the paleontologists. Next, talking about parasites. So the populations of parasites or different hosts are often slightly different. So the differences might be due to the non-genetic modification due to the different physiological conditions of the host, or the differences might indicate subspecific rank. And sometimes these differences are indicative of the rank as full species. So these are the difficulties that are faced during the application of biological species concept.